Hey guys, this is our Culinary Connection project. We had Dr. Kane as our Culinary Connection peer, and I'm Mackenzie.
I'm Carter.
I'm Araba.
So a little summary about her food story. She has some mom Irish roots and some dad German Jewish roots, so she has a very diverse background as it is. She is also the Study Abroad Director, Associate Director of the Center for Global Engagement. In these positions, she actually had the opportunity to prepare the Longwood basketball team to travel overseas. This was a very exciting experience for her because so many of the basketball players actually are already overseas and not originally from the U.S., so she got to watch them teach and learn their own peers on the basketball team, what it feels like to be in a different country and things like that. She has also traveled to all of the continents besides Australia, South America, and Antarctica.
So to start off, I did a little research on her dad's German and Jewish culture and his waterman side. Her father's roots, like I said, are German and Jewish. He was in the Navy, so they moved around a lot. He did not come to the U.S. until he was 3, and then he continued to grow up in Georgia. Due to moving around so much, they ended up moving to the Northern Neck because they needed change from where they were living. They grew up on the Chesapeake Bay, which is another reason they moved to the Northern Neck to continue to stay on the water. And her dad identifies as a strong Southern man, and they enjoy growing and catching their own seafood. As far as the German Jewish side, there's really no recipes that were passed down due to her grandma losing the entire family during World War II. She doesn't want to bring back memories of the ones she lost, so she doesn't share or write down that side of the family's recipes.
So for her study abroad experience, she actually she has enjoyed this experience so much, she really tries to recreate recipes at home that she has tried in all these exciting places. One of her favorite recipes to try to recreate is from Thailand, known as khao soi, which is roasted red curry, either chicken or tofu, depending on your preference, fried scallions, and a roasted red curry broth. She says that this is a very time-consuming recipe. She has not been able to master it, unfortunately, yet, but the most time-consuming is having to make your homemade paste. So this is a very difficult experience, but she is very excited to finally master it. She also says that food is a critical factor in many study abroad experiences. Many individuals overlook this experience because they're not capable of, they're not thinking that it's going to be all that much different from what they're used to. However, the food culture and taste and style of cooking is all very different. So there is a very large adjustment to these cooking styles and flavors. There's also the aspect of missing home and feeling comforted while at home. While you're studying abroad, you really do miss that home aspect, and when you don't have the food that you're used to eating at home, it is very different. So she also says that her best friend while doing study abroad experiences is Pepto.
So I did some research on her mom's Irish cultural background. Her mom's Irish cultural background has definitely influenced various aspects of her daily life, including her dietary choices and cultural practices. Raised in a Catholic household, she was immersed in tradition and value that stemmed from her Irish roots, instilling a sense of community and compassion in her upbringing. Therefore, this has inspired her choice to choose a profession dedicated to help students in exploring other cultures and other foods around the world. Additionally, it also contributed to her appreciation for traditions, especially in moments of loss and remembrance, where rituals surrounding death are deeply ingrained in her family customs. Traditional foods. So in her upbringing, she enjoyed traditional foods like beef and cabbage, and potatoes and bread pudding. Bread pudding was frequently complemented with a sherry sauce, which adds a bit of sweetness to the meal. Interestingly, while potatoes are often linked to Irish cuisine, they are not native in Ireland, which I found intriguing since it's often used in various Irish dishes.
So our dish connection to her culture, we chose to do bread pudding. It relates to her mom's Irish backgrounds. It is very comforting and reminds her of home, and it is cheap due to grew up in a very low income household, so they made this a lot due to the low cost. It's not a recipe that's wrote down, so all the ingredients are just eyeballed, so it's different every time, and it includes basic everyday ingredients that you'll have in your house.
So we actually made 2 versions of this bread pudding. The first version is the normal bread pudding. It had about 4 eggs in it. You kind of just eyeball it and you feel and you go as you go. Then it had about a cup of milk, but you add until the consistency feels right, whatever that means. And then you take about 7 slices of bread and you simply just break them up into cubes with your hands. Then you add some sugar, about half a cup, but until it tastes sweet enough to you. Not too much sugar, not too little, just about right. And then you have about half a bag of raisins. You literally just eyeball that as you go as well. Then you have some vanilla extract, just a splash here and there. And then you finish it off with some nutmeg with a few shakes or until it feels right. Honestly, the recipe for this bread pudding, you throw all the ingredients in the bowl, you start mashing them up with your hands, as you can see here in this video. Maybe the video. Oh, I have to play it? So as you can see here in these videos, you actually throw all the all the ingredients that I just listed out, and you throw them in the bowl and you simply mash them up with your hands. This is a really nitty-gritty process, but it really gets you involved in the process of cooking, and it is really enjoyable.
Okay, so we also created a vegan bread pudding recipe because I do have dietary restrictions. So making this vegan bread pudding was definitely a challenge, but it turned out well in the end because we found other alternatives to make the recipe, and it was just a rewarding experience. Just making it was just very different because baking is not my specialty. So in the video, you can see that I was adding raisins to the bread pudding and just smashing it in so it can cook with the bread pudding and the bananas and everything we used to make it. But yeah, it was just a rewarding experience, and I would definitely love to do this again. So.
So we also did a glaze, the cream sherry glaze, to put on top of the bread pudding. Once again, it's not measured, so you just pour the powdered sugar and the cream sherry back and forth until it's like an icing consistency.
Okay, so in the video, she was showing us how to make a cheap version of her mom's recipe, which is just white bread or any bread of your choice and condensed milk. And then she just popped it in the microwave, and yeah, it was good based on my partner's yeah. So basically, I felt it's just a nice way to make this bread pudding recipe if you find it very hard to get the ingredients that you actually need, since things are getting expensive, the economy is getting expensive. So yeah, so I just feel this is a perfect way to just have a snack and just enjoy your day, I guess.
It was very enjoyable. It actually was a bit more sweet than the other bread puddings that we initially made, but it was a very enjoyable dessert. So for cooking together, I actually really enjoyed working with Dr. Kane in this Culinary Connection project. She is very adventurous, and she really enjoys and brings a good spirit and attitude, which really opened my eyes, honestly, and made me be more willing to try new things, even if I don't think I will initially like it.
So it was a wonderful experience for me as well. I got to learn a lot about her family, and her different cultural sides and how they help shape her in her normal life and her cooking. I personally normally don't like bread pudding, but I really enjoyed the one we made. It was also very interesting that she was willing to share so much about her family with us. And one thing that she told us they did after meals was give us a gift. So she gave us all a book before we left.
Okay, so recreating her family's bread pudding recipe to fit my dietary restrictions was definitely an experiment. However, using alternative ingredients actually gave the vegan version a delightful French toast flavor. Having Irish family members who are vegan encouraged her and her family to explore and adapt traditional recipes to meet their needs, which emphasizes a strong sense of community. So overall, like, this was a very inspiring like story that she had, and I definitely had fun like making this bread pudding recipe with her.
Here's all of us at the end with our completed bread pudding.